From vintage steamboats on teal blue lakes to cable cars floating over the Alps to cogwheel trains straight out of a postcard and even bus rides on windy mountain roads. Travel days can be long, boring, and tiring, but not in Switzerland. So let's tick off the top 21 rides to add to your Swiss transportation bucket list.
Obviously, there are thousands of potential rides in this tiny country, so this is not a comprehensive list. Just the top experiences for you to enjoy on your first, second, or infinite number of trips to Switzerland. But keep in mind that you will probably not be able to squeeze all of these into a single trip, so just bookmark the ones that seem most can't miss to you.
Speaking of your Swiss vacation, we're Jana and Brett, Aplins in the Alps, and we help you travel Switzerland with confidence. For your convenience, we've grouped these rides together by train pass coverage and region. Because what could be better than an epic ride that cost you 0 extra Swiss francs? So buy your train pass, grab your camera, and let's hop on board. Let's kick off our bucket list with a handful of rides that are completely free if you're traveling with the Swiss Travel Pass, which also means that an SBB Day Pass or a Saver Day Pass would cover these rides as well. So let's head to the Jungfrau Region first.
If we only had one day to spend in the Jungfrau Region, we'd head straight to Mürren. And what better way to get there than with a ride along the narrow gauge railway from Grütschalp to Mürren. After a quick ascent on the cable car from Lauterbrunnen, hop on one of the old-fashioned train cars or even a slick modern one. As you travel 4 kilometers past Alps and forests, you get sweeping views of the big 3 peaks, the Eiger, Monch, and Jungfrau. After just 12 minutes, you arrive in the car-free alpine village of Mürren. We first fell in love with this place on our honeymoon back in 2012, and the train from Grütschalp is still our favorite way to enter the village. In addition to the Swiss Travel Pass, this ride is also covered by the Eurail and Interrail passes, the Jungfrau Travel Pass, and the Berner Oberland Pass. You can learn more by watching our One Day in Mürren video. By the way, we have 20 more rides on our Swiss transportation bucket list. So we won't always say all of this train pass info for each ride, but we will pop it up on the screen. And you also don't have to scribble down all of the details about these rides either. You can find all of this information on our blog, including additional details and links and videos where you can learn more about each of these rides and the destinations that they lead to.
Enjoy a ride on the world's longest cogwheel railway, the Wengernalp Railway, from Lauterbrunnen Valley to Grindelwald. This route delivers one of the best views of Lauterbrunnen Valley, right after you leave the Lauterbrunnen station and again just before you arrive in Wengen. And you also get a unique perspective of Grindelwald as you slowly chug down the other side. Not to mention that it takes you past one of our favorite secret spots to stop for drinks with a view, which happens to be included in our 1-week guide to the Jungfrau region. If you want to ride the entire length of the Wengernalp Railway, it'll take you 1 hour and 40 minutes, including a train change and layover in Kleine Scheidegg, which is plenty of time to see if you can spy someone climbing the Eiger North Face.
Step back in time as you board the Lötschberg steamboat on Lake Brienz. This beauty was built in 1914 in the Belle Epoque style and cruises over the milky teal waters every day in the summer. Step inside to watch the engine churn, and don't forget to watch the paddles spin after you disembark. In addition to a super relaxing ride with magnificent views, we like to ride this steamboat to Giesbach Falls or to the Swiss village of Brienz, both taking a little over an hour to reach from Interlaken. And along the way, we can't resist trying to come up with new names for the watercolor of Lake Brienz. So far we've got Gatorade Blue Ice, Brienzer Blue, and Milky Teal.
Now let's move on to rides covered by the Swiss Travel Pass in central Switzerland near Lucerne. How would you like to ride on top of a cable car? Well, now you can at the Stanzerhorn, which can be reached from Stanz. We loved first riding on the historic open-air Funicular, which was the first electricity-powered railway and the steepest when it was built back in 1893. Then we transferred to the Cabrio cable car, the world's first double-decker aerial cableway, and climbed up the steps to the rooftop for no extra charge. During this 7-minute ride, you can see everywhere from Mount Pilatus in the city of Lucerne to Mount Rigi and beyond Lake Lucerne. In addition to the Swiss Travel Pass, this journey is fully covered by the Tel Pass, our favorite train pass for central Switzerland and Lucerne.
Beyond the bucket list rides and panoramic views, we're also giving you a bit of a history lesson, because this place opened in 1871 as Europe's first mountain railway. It's the cogwheel railway from Fitznau to Rigi-Kulm. Before we even grabbed a seat on this train, we were like kids watching the engine spin around in the station. Then we kept our camera ready for the entire 32-minute ride to capture views of Lake Lucerne and as far as the Jura Mountains and the Black Forest. As a bonus, you can ride this cogwheel train up the mountain and then go down on the cable car from Rigi Kaltbad to Vimis. We almost included this cable car as a separate item on our bucket list because it literally feels like you're plunging into the lake as you descend on the cable car with these incredible views.
If you love to hike, then definitely head straight to Schwyz and hop on board the steepest funicular in the world. We were already impressed to learn that the Stoßbahn climbs at an average gradient of 47%. But then we were blown away during our ride when we realized that each individual cabin is self-leveling, so you're always standing perfectly upright. This truly is an engineering marvel. Of course, there are perfect views of the easily recognizable Grosser Meiten, but we were honestly quite distracted by the funicular itself. But once you reach the village of Stoß after your 7-minute ride, don't stop there. Just a short walk and a chairlift will deliver you to one of the most beautiful hikes in Switzerland, the Stoß Ridge hike.
There's one more category of bucket list rides fully covered by the Swiss Travel Pass. But this is a good time to mention that Switzerland is famous for those scenic train rides like the Bernina Express and the Glacier Express. And although those are pretty epic, we haven't actually included any of the official scenic trains in this video because we're planning to make another one about them in the future. If you're on the hunt for a nostalgic and luxurious ride, look no further than first class on the Golden Pass Belle Epoque train from Montreux to Zweisimmen. We absolutely love the attention to detail and classic wooden interiors. Not to mention that you can settle into the plush seats for 2 hours while you gaze out the bay windows at the sparkling waters of Lake Geneva, followed by traditional green Alps dotted with barns and villages. We first rode this ride back in 2012 when I'm pretty sure we accidentally sat in first class, even though we only had second class tickets. So make sure you're prepared for this ride with a first class ticket, pass, or seat upgrade.
But the Golden Pass journey gets even better when you upgrade your status to VIP. Along the same route, you can hop on board the Golden Pass Panoramic VIP carriage and literally ride in the very front of the train. In fact, the conductor is driving from the booth just above your head. We rode this in the late afternoon, and the perspective right over the track was spectacular and kind of looked like a green screen too. We wish more Swiss trains had this feature because it is totally worth the upgraded ticket in our opinion. Unfortunately, they no longer advertise which trains along this route have the VIP carriage, so you just have to hop on and hope you get lucky. But if you do find yourself on one of these trains that includes this section, you simply pay the train staff the additional fee to ride as a VIP.
Last year, we celebrated our wedding anniversary in Neuchâtel, and we loved every bit of the Two Lakes cruise from Neuchâtel to Mürten. You cruise across Lake Neuchâtel, the largest lake completely within Switzerland, with the Jura Mountains behind you and vineyards on the far shore. Then you pass through a canal that forms the border between Canton Bern and Canton Fribourg. After the Bird Nature Center and a few small ports, the route opens up onto Lake Mürten with more vineyards and one of the most charming medieval cities in Switzerland. And we forgot to mention that you can ride on the roof for fresh air and better views. It's not often that you can cruise on multiple lakes without ever leaving the boat. And as a bonus, you can also hop on a 3 lakes cruise, which includes the Bielersee too.
We're about halfway through our list, so give us a thumbs up if you've already bookmarked a couple of these special bucket list rides. And after you finish watching this video, we would love to hear in the comments which ride you're most looking forward to and why. But now it's time to move on to 3 unique experiences that are unfortunately not covered by any of the Swiss train passes, but they still can't miss in their own right. And the first one needs no introduction. It's the Jungfrau Cogwheel Railway from Eigergletscher to Jungfrau Joch. On the famous Jungfraubahn, you literally climb 7.3 kilometers up through a mountain to the highest train station in Europe. That's already unique enough, but halfway through the tunnel, the train stops for 5 minutes at Icemere, where we like to hop off and catch a glimpse of the glaciers through the viewing window. But to be honest, there are 2 things that added this ride to our Swiss bucket list. First, the 250% max gradient is so steep that you can stand up and lean over super far without falling over. And second, you get a free piece of chocolate on the way down. Now, we know that Jungfrau Joch is the most well-marketed attraction in the Jungfrau region and the most expensive. But if you love trains or engineering, then this 35-minute ride through a tunnel, through a mountain is pretty incredible.
Engelberg has one of the highest densities of cable cars in the world, including a collection of tiny farm cable cars that are so small they can only fit a few people at a time or 1 cow. We like finding lesser-known hiking spots in Switzerland, and often these are the places that are a bit hard to reach with any form of transportation, but not in Engelberg. To board these small cable cars, Buiwerbähnli as I think they're called in the local dialect, you walk up to the small station, which often looks like a barn. Sometimes you buy your ticket before you board, and sometimes after you finish your journey. And other times you even have to press a button to request the cable car. Then hop on board and squeeze in beside other hikers to enjoy the ride. Since these are private cable cars, some are covered by the Telpass and others aren't. But we love that they're made for farmers, but available and accessible to hikers at just the push of a button. And truthfully, it's super fun to ride an off-the-beaten-path cable car in the untouched nature of the Swiss Alps.
If I'm honest, this might be my favorite experience on this list, and that's because I will never forget the day that Google Navigation told us to drive onto the train. Yes, that's right. The Lochberg car train transports you from Kandersteg and Canton Bern to Gopenstein and Canton Valais. You literally drive your car onto the back of the train and keep driving until traffic stops. Then you put your car in park, close the windows, turn off your vehicle, and enjoy a 15-minute ride in the dark. When you reach the other side of the mountain, you turn your car back on and drive off the train. I mean, let's be honest, you're driving your car onto a train. That's just plain awesome. So if you find yourself on a road trip between Switzerland and Italy, then this is a super unique route to consider. And honestly, I already want to plan another vacation to Italy just so we can do this again.
Now it's time to talk about some more rides in the Jungfrau region. The first 2 are covered by the Jungfrau Travel Pass, and the other 2 are included with the Berner Oberland Pass. When you arrive at the Wildersfield train station, you won't be able to miss the vintage Belle Epoque open-air carriages of the Scenic Platte cogwheel train. We recommend plopping down in a window seat so you can maximize your experience for the next hour. You journey up through forests, cow pastures, and mountain meadows with unique views of Lake Brienz, Interlaken, Lauterbrunnen, Grindelwald, and the Eiger, Monch, and Jungfrau. Once you reach the top of this leisurely 52-minute ride, a panoramic restaurant, Alphorn music, an alpine flower garden, and hiking trails await. Scenic Platte is only open during the summer months, but this is the one place we make sure to visit at least one time every single summer, which is why it's included in day 4 of our 1-week guide to the Jungfrau region. In fact, if you're looking for a scenic train ride during your trip to the Jungfrau region, this is the #1 cogwheel train we recommend.
Until a few years ago, it took an hour and a half to reach Jungfrau Joch from Grindelwald, but this next experience shortens that ride by 30 minutes. The Eiger Express might be the biggest gondola we've ever seen. It departs from Grindelwald Terminal and soars over the picturesque valley of Grindelwald below and beside the imposing black north face of the Eiger. Although these large tri-cable gondola cabins can hold up to 26 people, we like to sit by the window to absorb all the views. This ride ends at Eigergletscher, where you can easily hop on board the train to Jungfrau Joch that we mentioned earlier. The Eiger Express is the quickest transportation route to Jungfrau Joch, but it's also a great way to reach hiking trails in the summer and ski or sledding slopes in the winter.
Our Swiss transportation bucket list wouldn't be complete without at least one bus ride, which is why we've included the incredible bus journey over the Grosse Scheidegg. You depart Grindelwald village to zigzag up the mountain next to the face of the Wetterhorn. This road is only open for buses, bikes, and hikers, so the ride is really special and scenic. But here's your warning if you get carsick. There are a lot of hairpin turns. After 35 minutes, you reach the top of the pass at Grosse Scheidegg, which has a hotel and restaurant. We both really enjoy hiking to and from here because the trails are so panoramic and often have a lot less people than you'll find nearby at Grindelwald Fürst. But there's no reason to stop at the top. You can also continue down the other side, down into the Reichenbach Valley and all the way to Meiringen.
While there are a few different cogwheel trains on this bucket list, let's head to Brienz for the only steam train that we've included. We love the historic Brienz Rothorn steam cogwheel train because they still use the original steam locomotives from 1892. And riding in the open-air carriages for 1 hour gives you unobstructed views of Lake Brienz below and alpine farms along the way. Not to mention that the steam engines refuel halfway up the mountain at Planalp, where you can hop off the train and watch. And once you approach the top, you can see up to 693 different mountain peaks. The Brienz Rothorn train is the only steam locomotive that runs daily in Switzerland, but only during the summer months. And if you happen to be here on your birthday, you can actually ride for free.
It's time to move to central Switzerland, specifically the area surrounding Lucerne, where the Tell Pass covers each of the next 3 rides. And just a quick reminder that our blog is linked in the description below, so you can find even more resources and guides about each of these bucket list experiences. Climb meter by meter on the world's steepest cogwheel train from Alpnachstad to Mount Pilatus. The views are a bit limited in the beginning of the journey, but trust us, they get better and better as you ascend at a 48% gradient through forest and fields to the craggy cliffs of Pilatus. Even though this first opened in 1889, it still holds the record for the steepest cogwheel train in the world. And the ingenious original double cogwheel system is still going strong with hardly any signs of wear and tear. And here's a bonus tip. You can make your journey to Pilatus a round trip by going up on the cogwheel train and then descending the other side by cable car and gondola. But as much as this place plays up on the dragon theme, I'm wondering, why can't I just fly up there on a dragon?
Next, you'll want to head to Engelberg to hop on board the world's first revolving aerial cableway, the Titlis Rotair. At first, you might hear the term revolving cable car and think of motion sickness, but don't worry, it slowly completes one full rotation during the 5-minute ride. Obviously, we recommend standing by the window so you can look below at the white glaciers and the bright blue Trubsee Lake. And once you reach the top, you're greeted by year-round snow, a glacier cave, and the highest suspension bridge in Europe. And as a bonus, your Tell Pass includes a ride on the Titlis Ice Flyer, which allows you to go sledding and snow tubing on a glacier for free at no additional cost.
This is the only summer chairlift on our bucket list, and just wait till you see these views. Start the ride from Trubsee and head up to the Joch Pass, where we spotted some marmots and mountain bikers as our feet dangled in the air. Then switch to another chairlift and be blown away as you descend toward one of the most beautiful lakes in Switzerland, the Engstlinsee. This 37-minute journey flew by, and we could have stared at that beautiful lake for a few more hours. So it's a good thing that we hiked around for a while after we hopped off the chairlift. Speaking of hiking, this ride allows you to enjoy the beautiful lakes of the 4 Lakes hike to Melkse Fruit while cutting out a few kilometers and much of the elevation change.
Next, we're heading toward the mighty Matterhorn in Zermatt to chat about Swiss transportation bucket list rides covered by the Peak Pass. If we only had 1 day to spend in Zermatt, we would head straight to Gornergott on Switzerland's first electric cogwheel train. Pro tip, sit on the right side of the train for all the best views. And we do mean all, as in practically the entire 33 minutes up. From overlooking the village of Zermatt to spying the Matterhorn, from dark tunnels to soaring bridges, from sparkly lakes to blinding glaciers. You'll want to keep your nose pressed to the glass, although the windows do open so you can actually take photos without any reflections. And once you reach the top, you're greeted with a backdrop of endless glaciers and rocky peaks, including the Matterhorn, of course. In our opinion, Gornergrat is a can't-miss experience for your trip to Zermatt because it literally has something for everyone. From hiking trails to alpine lakes, from cuddly sheep to really good food, I could go on. And that's why it's included in day 1 of our 3-day guide to Zermatt.
Speaking of the Matterhorn, get even closer to this world-famous peak by riding the Matterhorn Glacier Ride up to the highest cable car station in Europe at 3,821 meters. There's plenty we could say about this ride, but for the purpose of this bucket list, we particularly love the views as we're gliding over endless glaciers below. For real, the first time we rode this cable car, we were amazed at how we had a direct glimpse into their icy grooves and crevasses. And for even better views, we upgraded to the Crystal Ride with glass floors and didn't regret it one bit. Plus, this is actually the highest tri-cable car in the world. Like Jungfrau Joch in the Jungfrau region, Matterhorn Glacier Paradise is the most marketed tourist attraction in Zermatt. But if you've never been on top of a glacier or inside of a crevasse, then this is a pretty unique experience. And probably the only reason I'd ever want to find myself inside of a crevasse. And as an added bonus, you can visit both Gornergrat and Glacier Paradise on the same day during the peak summer months using the peak-to-peak ticket.
You know what else is a bucket list experience? An epic and stress-free Swiss vacation. Start planning yours today with this trip planning guide, and don't forget to check out our Ultimate Swiss Train Pass Guide to help you pick your pass with confidence, and we'll see you in Switzerland. Oh, and don't forget to leave us a comment and tell us which of these experiences you're adding to your bucket list.